Hey, it's your buddy. It's your bud. Hey, a little comic relief here. Y'all know how much I'm against large corporations that infiltrate your life and want to spread your business all over the internet so they can make millions of dollars. But this is a little bit fun. I was just I'm getting hip to Google and Google Maps and all that stuff. And I wanted to, and you know I hate games too. Not hate them, but I don't play games. But this is a little fun game. I want to kind of participate, or maybe if you guys want to join in and have some fun. But I'm getting hip to this Google Map thing, right? And so I thought of a game that we could play. I want you to Google something and Google Map something and go to Street View. And this little guy is the Street View guy. So if you put him anywhere, it'll basically, I don't know. I just dropped him anywhere. I landed in the middle of nowhere's land. This is Kansas. So if you ever wanted to know what Kansas was like, okay, and so there he is there, and okay, so you can actually go pretty much anywhere on in the world. Okay, let's move it to Wyoming, and we're not okay. We're not in Kansas anymore. All right, let's so. But what I like y'all to do is, let's see what's I in Iowa. Okay, all right. We're gonna disqualify Kansas, Iowa, and where's the other one? Colorado, Wyoming, or Colorado. Don't Google those places. So if you live there, well, Colorado's not so bad. Okay, so anyway, so this is Google Maps, and this is a Street View guy, and so this is fun. And so what I want you to do, let's go to New York. I'll just drop it. I guess I could zoom out, but let's go to New York. But I want you to Google. What I want you to do is Google anywhere, and Google somewhere and tell a story about the place. And so I was going in this old town I used to live in when I was in my 24s. I was a wild, crazy guy. Okay, I am not wild and crazy like this. But this is around the area that I lived. And around here, so Hunter Street, I forgot where I live, but Hunter Street is where I live. And I used to live on West Union when I first moved here. And it was probably the first street that I ever had a W in front of the name, but Hunter Street won't show up, so that's a no zone, and so that's a Google no zone. So I guess only this area. But I was Google, and there's a bridge here, and I used to hang out in bars here, and I used to live with this chick here, and so I want you to Google and drop the guy somewhere, and go and tell us a very fun story about it. So I have one. I'm gonna drop it right here. And so here is the corner I used to live, and there used to be a house back here. Now I'm using it. You could do this by just pointing the screen, but just drop it and tell us the area. And you can travel a little bit down here, but just tell a little story about the area. So up here is when I used to walk up to the street, and then I used to just all these wonderful memories. But this is where I first landed when I moved here, and then I moved down the street. I broke up with the girl here, and there's a whole big story about that. And I moved down here, and I had a friend named Apple who used to live here, and this was a butcher shop. And there's this bridge. I used to be really scared to go over this bridge and afraid of heights. Well, I want to tell you the story. I'm gonna go down the street a little bit. I want to tell you a story about this gas station here, right? Now, this is a gas station, or was a gas station, okay? But you'll notice that there are no gas. Now, there used to be some gas pumps here, and I guess here's where I used to live. And there was actually some girls that lived here, and they were gay girls. And I used to live in between this building. You go to the back, and I used there with a girl there, I used to live with a girl when I first moved here. Now you can't actually go over here and see the apartment we were, but there was a bunch of gay lesbian girls here, and so I had a girlfriend over here, and we had a fight, an argument, and then she moved over here. So you know what happened there. All right, you can make up the rest of the story there. Guy moves in here, and then gay girls over there. Girl winds up over there. Anyway, I want to tell you about these right here. So there were two gas pumps here, but after I broke up with the girl here, and we used to go shopping for meat in a meat butcher place here. And actually, now that I think about it, there was this cute Polish girl that lived here, and I wound up dating her. She was young, like 18, 17 or 18, I forgot. But anyway, anyway, she was fine, Polish though. So anyway. So she left and moved to college. So it's like, these areas are all like rich. But I didn't even live here. I used to just wait for the bus right over here. No, it was here. There was a bus stop right here. Right. And so anyway, so I lived down this street, and I actually lived over here in Hunter's area, and that's where I had a loft, and it was just such a blessing. There's a city mission right here, and I stayed right here just before I left town. So I moved in town over here, and I left town over there. It was a beautiful city mission. I stayed only a couple of days, and I got a one-shot deal, and I went down to New York, but I thought it was going to be, and I went to a city mission in Brooklyn. I thought it was going to be this beautiful, like, Mayberry town missionary, and I got there, it looked like a darn jail. Anyway, right here, I was living down here, and one night, this crazy girl, she was a white girl, beautiful blonde hair, really skinny, slim model, like petite waif, like. And I didn't like her at that time, but I like it now, But anyway, now that I'm older, but then younger, I like bigger women. Anyway, but anyway, she was really simple, beautiful pretty blue eyes and long hair down, blonde hair, natural blonde hair down to her butt. But she was psycho. And so, and she would get drunk, and every time you get drunk, you start acting crazy. It's to, inebriate you, right? So, so she gets drunk one night, and she lived way across the town, and she never drove, but she goes in her girlfriend's, and it was a black girl, and she goes in her girlfriend's, takes her keys out of her pocket, drives down, goes to my house, my apartment. And all of that, Kingston was such a beautiful town. You would never have to lock your doors. Nobody would steal from each other. It's crazy, right? But I never had a lock on my door. And so girls used to just walk up in my apartment. I'd come home, I didn't know what girl was there, And so she, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock. The party was drinking. She comes in there with a car and says, "I want you to come home with me and take me to it." But I was sleeping. I wouldn't come with her, and you could never tell her no, and never tell her no when it comes to sex, right? So she gets angry, and so because warm and scorn. And so she gets mad and goes ballistic. Anyway, she's got to drive the car home. I guess she's crying upset because I just wouldn't come. But she act nice, and it wasn't a real big deal to me. So she was real crazy and a little suicidal, right? A little, right? So she comes down here and she rams her car into the gasoline pumps. I guess she was trying to cause a little bit of an explosion or blow herself up. I don't know which, but she was just trying to blow herself up, right? To kind of pay me back for saying no. And so it didn't work. So she drove the car back and hit every car along the way and drove the car back to my house and parked the car in front of my house And then the police comes to my house, and I come out, and she comes to my door. She says, "Oops, I made a little mistake, right?" And I'm looking at her girlfriend's car, and it's wrecked. And it's completely wrecked. I mean, hey, ain't no way you can't take. I mean, smoke coming out the front. And so she parks it in front of my house, and then the police comes to my house, and I'm looking at the car. The police is coming. I tell her to get in the house, and then they come and ask me, "What's going on with the car in front of the house?" And I'm like, "What car?" And then he said, "Well, my girlfriend had a little accident." And he's like, "Is she here?" And so, I think that they was getting ready to do me in until they find out that she was white. This cute little petite white girl, right? And so she said, so she comes out, and they're like, "Oh, miss, we must take you down to the station." Anyway, but after that, these guardrails, they put up these guardrails. So this story is about how these guardrails. This is a Google map on how these guardrails got here. They used to be just used to be a couple of pumps there, and now they had to put up the guardrails. So I guess this is closed. And then just before, like, this was such a beautiful area. There's a beautiful house over here. And then you can go down to the Strand, and that's where the cool bars were. And it's just beautiful, luscious, beautiful colonial town, Kingston, New York. It was actually the capital of New York State, the first capital of New York State. And, and it was just really wonderful. Right about here is right when I got drunk one time, and I laid on the ground looking up the sky, and I said, "God help me, I gotta get out of this town." And that's when I moved to New York. I sat there, I was drunk, I was I was probably sitting there for I would get lonely sometimes, and especially after the girlfriend that I had left. We used to go up on this bridge. It's a beautiful sight down here. And it's just wonderful stories. And this is what a beautiful little Polish girl was. Oh man. It was a really great town. And I missed it. And so I was just really blown away by visiting, being able to visit it here. So let me hear your Google stories. Google your life, okay? And Google a point of time in your life. Okay? God bless you. Love you all. Let's hear it. And you can just point a camera at the screen if it doesn't work. If you don't have a screen catcher, I'm using just a regular screen catcher. Okay, bye.